Oh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Facebook Balls and Sticks, the podcast. I'd like to welcome everybody watching on YouTube and also on or listening on your podcast platforms. This is Mikey. I'm flying solo this week, but that doesn't mean we don't have a great show for you. And by we, I mean me. But it's gonna be exciting today. We are sorry I'm running so late. If you're trying to watch live or you normally watch live, I'm about an hour and 20 minutes later than normal. My computer completely took a crap on me, so I had to reboot everything and get that ready to go. So it might be a little bit quicker of a show than normal, but normally I can make some stuff happen. Some stuff we're going to talk about today. Minimum, we always have the NASCAR corner, something for you to look out for. We also have adding in the Indy 500 into that. We have some baseball to talk about, and some quick hits to talk about. So all that and more. But first, we roll the intro. We don't have, again, because of the world breaking, my computer breaking. We don't have the video different thing, the thing on the video. So you're going to watch me dance around to this if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, but we'll get it fixed. Don't worry. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Okay, thanks for rolling that intro. Now, let's first get into the poll question this week. This week's poll question was, remember the Titans versus Miracle. Man, such a good matchup. These two, I think they're probably the best two on the list. So this week, I voted for Remember the Titans. Rich voted for Miracle. Remember the Titans wins 5-4, folks. 5-4. Very tight race. Could have gone either way. Thank you all for voting. Yeah. This next week's poll is going to be Rocky IV versus the Karate Kid. Rocky IV versus the Karate Kid. That poll should go live in about 8 minutes if you're listening to, or if you're watching live. Noon Central Standard Time, or daylight time. Sorry, noon daylight time. And if that's generally when our polls go live. So, yeah. Well, folks, do you see what's coming up next? You guessed it. It's a left turn. And after that, another left turn. In fact, we have more left turns happening this weekend than we do most weekends as we head into the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, East Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your memorabilia needs. Okay, first thing I got to do this week is give a NASCAR shout-out. That NASCAR shout-out is going to go to, let's get down to it, Circuit of the Americas. Oh, back to Rich. Solomon coming back with a solid 206 points for his Circuit of America, which blasted him more points than me by more than 60 and more than 40 for Tony. Overall, though, Tony still has a solid lead over him. But, the race is still decently tight. Rich has kind of run away that way. But this week's race, Rich is not here to celebrate. He, in fact, earned 2 points because he got his he picked the winner 100% correct. So, one of those things, it happens. Rich, good job. I'm proud of you. That brings this season's total to 10, from 10 to 3 to 10 to 5. Rich hoping to make a comeback. This week we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but before we talk about that race, I'm going to actually talk about the Indy race. The Indy race starts before, so we'll go, because we have 1,100 miles of racing this weekend, folks, that most race fans will end up watching. You have the Indy 500, which is a 500-mile race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the most famous motorsports race in America. If you don't know this, it is a global phenomenon. This is not just a U.S. thing, where the Daytona 500 tends to be more focused in the U.S., not focused globally. The Indy 500 ends up being a global phenomenon. This year is set to be great. One of the past champions, one of the guys that everybody knows well, had to qualify in, Will Powers, sitting in the back row. That is going to be my pick, folks. I'm going to pick Will Powers for the Indy 500. Rich picked Rennes Vicky. He won the 2021 Indy Grand Prix. The driver who won that race in 2018 and 2019 went on to win the Indy 500. That is Rich's logic behind that. Good logic. I just like Will Powers. A, he has a really cool name. B, he is Australian. C, he has lots of talent there. Also, folks, if you don't know about this, you need to know about this. Simona de Silveristo is racing. She is on basically not an all-female team, but a mostly female team. It is a huge accomplishment. She qualified. She is the last qualifier this year. Good luck to her. Hopefully she does a great job, and we get to see her. I would not be bummed if she won. That would be really cool. Also, other key names to look out for: Tony Kanaan and Scott Dixon. As always, those guys always do a really good job, along with Elio Castroneves. This is a list of who's racing this race. Guys that just, it's amazing. The lone Andretti out there is Marco Andretti this year. Hopefully he can do a good job. With that being said, we're going to move on to fantasy, or to the Charlotte 600, or the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year. Gonna be crazy. It's an endurance race, folks. Rich has honors. With that, he is actually picking Kyle Larson to win. He's really good on the 1.5 mile tracks. Hendricks is super hot right now. Those are two great facts. He'll also be looking out for most of the Hendricks guys. Watch out for Kyle Busch. There's practice. Anytime Kyle Busch gets a practice, he tends to do really well. And then Martin Truex Jr. has a great history. If you're looking for some sleepers right now, Rich would recommend Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher. I'm going to actually recommend, I think I'm going to go this week with Kevin Harvick. That's who I'm going to pick for the race. My sleeper, anybody can do this. And not anybody can do this, but Charlotte is one of those racetracks where lots of people, most of these teams, know it fairly well. So look for. Let's go with Ryan Pace. Going to be my sleeper this week. And outside of that, folks, just pick some of the guys. Pick guys that are going to do that generally do well. You want guys that are in good shape. Younger guys tend to do all right here. Look for Bubba Wallace to come out and have a good showing this week. I'm going to give you Bubba Wallace. That's going to be my big race pick this week. I know that sounds crazy, but he's who I'm going with. Probably not a huge pick for most, but that's what I'm going to go with. Bubba Wallace as my final sleeper. Besides that, so I should probably talk about that COTA race. You couldn't see jack. NASCAR on the road courses is allowing them to do rain racing, which is fine. I don't mind racing in the rain. I think there's good stuff to happen there. The problem is that too many times in this race, and we saw it. It's what took my pick to win this week. Kevin Harvick out of the race. He was slowing up, and as he was slowing up, somebody came up from behind and nailed him because nobody could see anything. So it was not a good thing. It was ugly. Look this week for a good rebound for everybody. They're not going to be racing in the rain. But it's still going to be a good race. Look out for that. And that is tomorrow at 8:18 Eastern Time. So that's 5 Central on Fox. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on actual Fox this week. So that's good. Even if you don't have TV, or don't have cable, you can still catch it. Once again, folks, that is the NASCAR Corner presented by Triple I Sports Cars Incorporated. Check them out in East Moline, Illinois, for all of your sports memorabilia needs. Okay, heading into baseball this week, the Cubs went 5-1 show to show. In fact, the only game they lost was last Saturday's game, and ever since then they've been on a 5-0 run. They are second in the division, half a game back off the Cardinals. Honestly, folks, the Cubs need to keep winning. Why? Because the Cubs, if the Cubs can keep winning, this is the key here. If the Cubs keep winning, the Cubs can get into first place. They need St. Louis to lose a game. But man, that's just all there is to it. The team that is leading the division at Memorial Day is like 70% of the time makes it in the playoffs. Folks, if we want to make the playoffs this year, we need to do well. Again, I don't know that that's going to be the case for the Cubs, as they might be using a lot of these final year guys as trade fodder. And so we'll see. This next week, we have two more against the Reds. One that starts in about an hour. And then a game tomorrow. Then we have 2 versus the Padres. Both of those series are at home, and then they go out to San Francisco for 2 more games Friday and Saturday next week. Probably have a Sunday game in there as well. They might have a Monday game. I'm not sure how that's going to end up working, folks, but they're out in San Francisco. Rich's prediction is 3-4. The Padres are red hot. It's the first West Coast road trip since 2019. That's a good point. I'm gonna. Ooh, Rich has something that I could talk about myself for about an hour, but I'm not gonna do it. We're doing a quick show today, folks. I'm almost through the rest of this. He has the note on here about Javi Baez and Wilson Contreras making a run happen in a ridiculous play. We'll talk. Rich and I will talk about this more at length next week. Was it good base running or was it bad defense? The quick answer is bad defense. There is no way, shape, or form that anything like that should have ever happened. We'll talk about it next week. I'll even have I'll have the video. We'll do the video, that way people can those that watch it can see. But it's one of those things, folks. You kind of got to see it to believe it. Which is why the YouTube people next week and the Facebook people next week will be able to see it. But Rich and I are going to talk about it at length. We're going to break down this play, what happened, why we think it happened, and things to be learned. I think is what we're going to do next week. It's been like I said, going to be a crazy short. I might make it a half hour this week, folks. I don't know that I will. Mostly because with all the computer stuff going on, we have a big day going on. We're getting ready to go on the road. We got a 2-hour road trip that we got to make. If I make a half hour, I'll be happy with that. So, what was it? Good base running? Was it bad defense? It was good. It was heads up base running, I will say. I don't know. I mean, good base running, heads up base running. There's a difference there. The difference, I would argue, is that good base running is doing things that should happen, if that makes sense. Combating things that should happen, or good heads up ways of making things happen, versus bad base running, which would have been as opposed to heads up, which is play until the play is dead. There's a huge difference there, folks, and we'll get into it. Like I said, we're going to get into this a whole lot more next week. Rich has some opinions on it. I have opinions on it. But I would say overall, it was mostly bad defense by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh screwed that play up. So many ways for them to end that play without giving up a run. And yet, what did they do? They gave up the run. Like, how do you give up a run on a play that should be a force out at first? I don't understand it. We'll break it down next week. Look forward to that next week, folks. So much more to talk about. And it's always helpful when Rich is here because we have, yes, this is a very condensed, we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. NBA, so, NBA's in the playoff. So, yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Luckily, no big controversies in baseball. There's one. But that's part of our quick hits, which we'll get to in just a moment. I'm going to give you a quick update in the NBA playoffs, because, that's what you're here for, updates and stuff. So Denver leads 2-1 over the Trailblazers. Not a super surprise. Milwaukee is just tearing it up against the Heat. Could close it out today in about 21 minutes. You can catch that game. The 76ers are 2 games up on the Wizards. And the series for the Jazz and Grizzlies are tied at 1 game apiece. I will tell you, if the Jazz lose that game, nobody's stopping LeBron. currently. So I'm saying that right now. If the Jazz are not out as part of it, nobody's stopping LeBron. Atlanta leads the Knicks 2-1. By the way, we need to talk about this. New York fans. And I know we at least have one that's a fan of the show. His name's Mark. Hopefully, if we ever make this show a real thing, he'll be our producer. I would love for that to be the case. Mark Wishnia. If you are listening and or watching or any of the above, can you explain to me why your Knicks fans were celebrating so hardcore about winning one game? One game. I don't get it. Like, seriously, they were out in the streets partying like their team completely did everything. Like, they were the greatest team ever. And I don't understand why the Knicks did that. Knicks fans, come on. We also got to talk about popcorn being dropped on Russell Westbrook and Trae Young getting spit on. Folks, now, there are people in the world right now that think that the popcorn drop was outrageous. It is a little outrageous. People, when you go to these games, A, it's a privilege. It's not a right. B, and this is where things really get me ticked off, these guys don't get paid enough for you to do, like, yeah, they get paid a lot of money, but dumping popcorn on them, spitting on them, that's not what they're there for. They're there for entertain you, not to take abuse from you. There's a huge difference. These are things that people need to understand. I don't get why you would think that it's acceptable to dump popcorn on somebody or spit on somebody at a game. Now, does it happen on a regular basis where fans do this to each other? Every day. This is the bigger part that I have a problem with. Every game, not every game, but lots of games you go to, there are people that are wearing uniforms for the other team. They're cheering for the other team. And it gets ugly a lot of times. Rich and I have been immensely lucky in our lives that we go to Wrigley. We go to Milwaukee. I've gone to the South Side. I've even gone to St. Louis. We've stayed in the Midwest for the most part, and this is where I think the issue. I mean, this is why people say you're Midwest nice. This is the biggest example of it. I have gone to games, and when I say gone to, I mean this is not a one and done. I've gone to games with fans of St. Louis when it's a Cubs Cards game in Wrigley, and never once did anybody do anything towards the person wearing St. Louis gear in a violent way, B, in a way that was disrespectful enough that made me fear for her or them. Doesn't make sense. Anytime Rich and I go to Milwaukee to go to a game, which we've done quite a bit, we walk in wearing our gear. Now, granted, Milwaukee's a little bit of a special case because tend to be more Cubs fans than there are Brewers fans at those games. That's a little bit of a special case. We can dive into that a little bit if you want, but never have we had any issues. Yes, we give ribbings to each other. Yes, we get crap. But never once have I ever, folks, felt like I was in danger. Now, look at me. I'm a bigger guy. I look somewhat imposing. I tend to wear a hat and glasses that make me, some would argue, I mean, my wife says I look like I'm a big, scary dude sometimes. I don't think so, but okay. If that's what it is, that's what it is. I don't know. But I've never seen people, like, you'll get people that make fun of each other. And what's even better, and this is my favorite part, I've been to Cubs games with Cardinal fans. Now, the Cardinal fan I was with, because she was sitting next to me and we were talking, obviously, nobody messed with us, but there was a guy a couple rows up who was being a little more vocal. He was getting harassed, legitimately harassed. One of the few times I've seen it. Now, he was dishing it out a little bit, and people were dishing it back, and so one guy took offense to him and started being slightly belligerent. I'm sure he imbibed a little bit more than he needed to. But in that instance, I watched Cubs fans yell at other Cubs fans to leave him alone. That's not how we do it here in Wrigley. Okay. So we've talked about the fan-on-fan violence and anger. Now you're telling me that these guys, you're now fan-on-player? These guys are here to provide you with entertainment. That's all they do. They're here for you to enjoy. I don't care. I don't like Albert Pujols. I will make fun of him. But you know what I won't do? I will not stop in the middle of a game and throw something at him. I won't spit at him. I will never go. If I knew who his family was, I don't. Sorry, I'm a sports fan. I'm not that big of a sports fan. But, no, I am that big of a sports fan. I just don't care. I don't care who his family is. But if his family was at the game, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go yell at his family and make fun of them and harass them. His family did nothing. But what have we seen these last few weeks? We've seen family members getting harassed so bad they have to leave the stadium. We've seen players get popcorn dumped on them. Come on now. Hey, that popcorn was probably $5 for a bucket of popcorn. You know that. I know that. And you're going to dump it on somebody? Come on now. We're better than that, aren't we? And if you're not, I don't want you at the games. Better still, and this is the one I think, honestly, what needed to happen to the gentleman who spit on Trey Lance, you need to be arrested. There is no excuse for that. Popcorn, honestly, is it going to hurt anybody? No. Folks, let's be honest with ourselves. And we've been to football games where they're dumping beer and popcorn and everything in the tunnel while teams are walking by, and the teams are using that just to hype themselves up more. Basketball, they're a little softer. I'm not even gonna joke that they're not. They are 100% softer. But here's the difference. It's not necessary. You're not gonna hurt somebody dumping popcorn on them, most likely. The biggest risk is if they slip on it and hurt themselves as they're walking over it. Yeah, that's a risk. Okay, meh. Did Russell Westbrook handle it well? No. But the fact of the matter is, it's not a huge deal. I don't think. So what are we doing here, folks? The popcorn, I think, is less of a big deal. You're not going to hurt somebody. It's disrespectful. If it wouldn't have been caught on camera, would anything have been made of it? Probably not. Honestly, probably not. If the camera doesn't catch what happened as it happened, nothing's gonna go down. B, if Russell Westbrook doesn't act like the world's coming to an end and he's gonna destroy the world because of what happened to him because he got popcorn dumped on him, are we gonna see this at all? No. But both those things happened, so where are we now? Well, we're talking about it. Does the popcorn thing, it doesn't bother me as bad. Don't do it. It's dumb. It's a waste of $5 of popcorn that you bought. B, and this is the bigger thing, these guys he didn't do anything to deserve it. I don't care that you don't like him. I don't like a lot of people. I don't like some of the people I've worked with in the past. You know what I don't do? I don't go spit on them. I don't go dump popcorn on them. Okay, we're done with the popcorn side. Now let's get to the Trey to the Trey Lance spitting on somebody. This is beyond excusable. When you were in kindergarten, you learned not to spit on people, didn't you? Like, seriously. What do you think? When did it ever become acceptable to spit on somebody? I've never seen it. Yes, I've been spit on. A couple of times, actually. A couple of times in malice. Pissed a guy off. Spat on me. You know what I did? I dunked him. We were in the pool. He started a splash fight because he was a little punk. I took the bait. Being a guy that lived in a pool for much of his growing up days, like, folks, when I tell you I lived in a pool, we had season passes to the pool because we got them subsidized for us, and we would be there from 10 in the morning when they opened until 6 at night when they closed. I was a perfect shade of bronze. I lived in a pool. I was on the swim team. I knew how to drown somebody in splashes. I did this to this guy. He spat on me. You know what I did? I dunked him. Now, I got my revenge, whatever. He cried a little bit. I laughed. Blah, blah, blah. Game over. Whatever. Who cares? But spitting on somebody is, it's not just disrespectful. It's gross. B, it is legally assault. This guy needs to be arrested. I don't care if Trey Lance wants to press charges. I think they should press charges to him. The DA has every right to do it. There's probably video evidence of it. The guy's not going to get out of it. He should do... should he do hard time? Probably not. But you know what? Maybe. Prove to these people that we take this seriously. Oh, they gave him a lifetime ban. You think anybody, any individual who is scanning your ticket is going to take the time and make sure that that's not you coming in? When was the last time somebody took your ticket and actually checked on you to make sure you were who bought the ticket or whatnot? They don't do that. A lifetime ban, that's lip service. NBA, we got to get real about this. You want to stop these things from happening? Press charges. Have that guy go to jail. That's what he deserves. I don't care if he made your team look like a fool. I don't care if you came out on the court and he made you look like a fool. You don't spit on people. When somebody gets too close to it and is talking to me and they spit on me, that's gross. I back up. If they keep following, I back up more. Like, there is no excuse. We learned as little children. Don't spit on people. And yet, here we are. Can't believe it some days. Seriously, I don't get it. Why is this unacceptable? Why do you think this is acceptable as a sports fan? What in your right mind makes you think when you go to the game that you can assault an NBA player and get away with it? Arrest him, put him in jail. I don't care. So, what else do we got to talk about this week? Well, NHL playoffs are going on. Let me give you an update on that. So today the Maple Leafs play the Canadiens. The Maple Leafs lead 3-2. Game 6 tonight at 6:30. The Islanders, speaking of Mark Wishnea, the Islanders are playing the Bruins. It's game 1. Look for that game today at 7. Tonight or tomorrow at 4, you have the Lightning and the Hurricane. So your thunderstorm match, if you will. Game 1. And then, if needed, there's that was game 5. So yeah, tomorrow is that. The Golden Knights won their series against the Wild 4-3, and obviously the Hurricane beat the Preds. So, yeah, that's where we are, folks. And what else do we got going on? There's that. I don't think we have much more. I got 35 minutes out of this week. I apologize, folks. Normally I would, Rich would be here and we could banter back and forth. Rich, I know you're listening. We need to put on the outline next week for the spitting and the popcorn, and let's get your opinions on it a little bit. And we also should put on the Javi Baez. We'll do a full breakdown of it. Look for that next week, folks. If you are watching us on Facebook and you want to just listen to us, put us in the car while you're driving to a wedding 2 hours away or whatever you're doing. We are here for you. We have a way for you to do that. Check us out anywhere where you get your podcasts. Spotify, Google Podcasts. I'm pretty sure Rich has said we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on a lot of those platforms. I'm still working on getting in iHeartRadio and then also in Amazon Podcasts. Those are two that I don't think we have yet. But outside of those, I think we're in pretty much anywhere else. Actually, Anchor has their own way to find us as well. So let's do that. Now, I know what I still haven't done. Wow, I haven't done the quick hits for the week. Rich, giving a shout out to Rich this week. He is out camping. Enjoy your Memorial Day, folks. We'll do those shout outs in just a second. Quick hits. Joe West breaks the record for most games umpired or stolen from other teams or stuff, whatever you want to call it. I hate Joe West. With 5,376 career games umpired. The most ever umpired. Good on him. I don't like him, but whatever. Phil Mickelson became the oldest golfer ever to win a major at 50 years of age. Wow, good job, Lefty. He's also the fourth golfer to win majors in 4 different decades. Wow. So that would have been the 90s, the aughts, the 10s, and the 20s now? Wow. And finally, in NBA news or NFL news, Adam Vinatieri retires, all-time leading scorer. I'm pretty sure it's all-time leading scorer for the NFL total, not just for kickers, but he also holds tons of kicking records. Finally retires. We're not even going to put this as a poll question because 100% of if you don't say yes, he's a Hall of Famer, you're an idiot. Don't even vote on my poll questions. Like, legitimately, Adam Vinatieri is the question is he a first ballot Hall of Famer, or does he deserve the rules to be changed so he can go in a year early because he's that good? That's honestly, folks, that's my argument on it. Adam Vinatieri is amazing. Been doing it since the 90s, I believe, so he probably has kicked a field goal in every in 4 different decades, probably. I would almost guess. I'm gonna look it up. Let's look it up. I got some time. Adam Vinatieri started when 57 years old, folks. Or no, 48. Sorry, 48. I don't know what said 57. But 48 years old. 96. Or 96, he started kicking with the Patriots. So, yes, between 96 and 2000 and whatever year, 2020, he kicked a field goal in... He probably kicked a field goal in every one of those seasons. Ain't no doubt. Hall of Famer. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings, 3 Pro Bowl appearances, 3, and each one of those he was a first team All-Pro. I mean, he's one of the top 100 players of all time, according to the people that made those lists for the NFL. Most consecutive field goals made in a row, 44. Most combined regular season and postseason games played, 397. Most career field goals made, 599. Most career field goals attempted, 715. And I was correct. Most career points, period. 2,673 points. Longest field goal he's ever kicked, 57 yards. Folks, 83.8% field goal percentage. This guy is an animal, deserves every bit of it, has kicked a field goal, I guarantee it, in every decade from the 90s to today. 4 decades. Wow. Look at that guy go. Hall of Famer right there. Okay, folks. Like I said, if you are watching us on Facebook and you want to just listen to us, jump onto the podcast platform of your choice. Look for us there. Also, if you are listening to us on one of the podcast places that we are on, we do ask that you jump on facebook.com/ballsandsticks and give us a like there. Also, give us a like, rate us, do all those things on there. And if you want to participate in our poll questions, it's facebook.com/fans of Balls and Sticks, or just look us up as Balls and Sticks Fans Group on Facebook. What else is there? Oh, yeah. If you want to join us, we try to do this every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. We're live. So if you comment or if you do any of that stuff, we give you shout-outs. So now we're at that section of the show. Shout-outs. Rich Hendricks says, nice job this week, Mike. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate it. Hopefully next week we got to get together a little bit earlier because I have to reset up our video system because everything got screwed up this week. We will talk to you next week, folks. Man, God bless. And by the way, okay, time out before I go. Man, I'm gonna make this a 50-minute episode with just random things. And this one's for Rich. Remember, folks, Memorial Day is not for veterans. We appreciate our veterans. We love our veterans. If you don't know, Rich is a veteran. The best man at my wedding, a veteran. Family, we have tons of family, friends that are veterans. But this weekend is about those guys that don't get to be called veterans because they lost their life. It's not a weekend for you to have a barbecue. I'm not opposed to you having a barbecue weekend this weekend. What I am opposed to is you forgetting that the reason this weekend is existing is for those families that don't get to see Daddy anymore. Rich has friends that he's seen go out on patrol and not come back. That's who this is for. It is not for the guys that come home. We thank you so much, but that's not, you know this. It's not your weekend. This is for those families that don't get somebody to come back. This is for those families whose young men and women don't get to take off their uniform. Armed Forces Day was 2 weeks ago. That was the day we celebrated those that still wear their uniform. On Veterans Day, that's when we celebrate those that got to take off their uniform. But today we remember those who don't. We're going to take a moment. We're just going to let you sit there. I really wish Rich was here because I know every year he has shout outs because he knows guys. So I'm just going to take a minute. You're going to sit for 1 minute, and we're going to think about this. We're going to remember those guys. We're gonna let them have their moment. I'm not worried about how long it takes. This show happens. We're not perfect by any means, and so we're gonna let it go. So I'm actually gonna give you 1 minute, and you're gonna have to. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be a little over a minute, and you're gonna deal with it. Because folks, this weekend's not just a great weekend to have a 3-day weekend. It's a weekend to remember those guys. So to those families that are missing somebody, thank you. To everybody listening that wore the uniform ever, thank you, even if you are now. But we really want to remember those families that don't get to come home. The family of Pat Tillman is the only one I'm coming up with right now. So that's our sports and memory crossover. Yeah. Might sound like a downer. We're free because of those guys. For that, we thank them. And we thank their families. Folks, it's been a great week. Enjoy your 3-day weekend. But remember those that sacrificed everything for you so that you could have that weekend. God bless. Time to roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.